first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys if they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
What's going on, y'all? Nathan back with another video presentation. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you're all staying safe. Welcome to episode 6, Big Nate Talk Podcast. I do apologize if this video is a little late. Kind of a long, productive, busy day. So I want to get this video out to y'all as soon as possible. I want to keep a couple things we're getting into tonight. Excuse me. We're going to talk about Hall of Fame game, Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Dallas Cowboys. We'll continue with the NBA free agency updates, Baltimore Ravens updates. Also, a couple people reached out to me about the WNBA. Haven't talked about that, so I'm going to get into that in just a bit. Team USA basketball, and then we're going to close it out with Washington Capitals owner, Wizards owner of Monumental Sports, Ted Leonsis, said some things about Russell Westbrook and kind of really brought up a conversation that needs to be had. But with that being said, before we get into it, again, I do apologize. I did say in the last episode, I was going to have these episodes up. I will have these episodes up for y'all by tomorrow evening. If hopefully by tomorrow, sometime between tomorrow afternoon. They're already downloaded. I just have to upload them through Anchor so they'd be available on Spotify for y'all. So just be patient with me. We're just moseying around along with season 2 so far. We're off to a great start. But I just want to touch on this real quick. WNBA starts up August 15th. So for the people that have been asking me, how you need to tell about the WNBA? We got 2 games on the 15th. We got the Sky and the Storm. And then Sunday, actually we got 3 games. So really everyone starts back Sunday. Hopefully, if I'm playing my cards right, I think everybody, all the girls that are over at the Olympics, they should be back. Today's the 6th. They should be back around the 10th. Because let me see, the Olympics actually closes. I think we are actually almost done with the Olympics. Yeah, it ends this Sunday. So we got 2 more days. So I know tomorrow the girls play. I know the men play France. And then the girls play Serbia. Which they're actually playing right now. So I will catch that game as soon as this is over. So that recap and Team USA's men against France, that will also be recapped in episode 7. So be on the lookout for that. So I just wanted to just get that out there. So we're going to jump right in. It's football time, baby! Football time. I remember Bone Crusher back in the day. They had a remix of Madden 2004 of Bone Crusher. It's football time! Shout out to Bone Crusher. But a couple of things I kind of took away from it. I mean, for the most part, first and foremost, let me just say this. It was great to see the Hall of Fame class. Drew Pearson, it's about damn time he's in the Hall of Fame. Calvin Johnson, a couple of those guys, I got to see them. But a couple of notes that I took away from the game tonight. Najee Harris made his preseason debut. He ran the ball 7 times, picked up 22 yards. There was a 6-run on his first carry, 6-run yard. He had a 3-run, then he had a 3-yard catch to give Pittsburgh their first down. Najee Harris to me is he is a north and south guy, so I'm kind of curious to see how that'll look. 17 games going in for sure. Shout out to Ball Crusher, exactly, Sean, exactly. But they had 5 consecutive runs on 6 yards, and Pittsburgh's second possession of the ball. But I mean, the only thing I can say that was with Najee Harris was it's growing pains, and as the season progresses, and as he progresses and matures as a player, it'll get better for sure. The offensive line now. The biggest thing, particularly with the Cowboys, Kendrick Green was starting, Dan Moore Jr., and that's 4 new starters for Dallas. Pittsburgh's offensive line did not allow a sack. Mason Rudolph in the starting line, with him starting. I think they did a great job running lanes for McFarland, who started, Najee Harris, and Kalen Ballage, if I'm saying that right, who did get the 4-yard touchdown, who did the touchdown to make it 6-3, but then they missed the extra point. Go figure. Haskins looked decent. Dwayne did look good out there. Also, my notes here. Highsmith. I think he's going to be a good little linebacker now that Buck Dupree's in Tennessee. I like the sack he had on Gilbert, which forced him to settle for a field goal. That was good. Isaiah Buggs and Rico Dottie on their next possession. Keep a lookout for Cassius. I have it right here. Cassius Marsh, Quincy Roche. I really think these are some good talented brothers on this roster, and I think they could potentially may have answered a few questions about Pittsburgh's outside pass rushing. Dwayne Haskins, 8 of 13 for 54 yards. He did lead the Steelers in their first 2 scoring drives. Haskins did a good job taking care of the ball, which was, to me, a improvement from when he was the quarterback for the Washington football team, where he had 3 more interceptions and touchdowns, but that's neither here nor there. Josh Dobbs also came in there. Michael Parsons shine. Turner also had a big day. Yes, absolutely. Josh Dobbs threw a 5-yard touchdown pass to Tyler Simmons. But I think that was good because I know at this point, I think he's the odd man out, in my personal opinion, because they wanted to let one of them go between Rudolph, Haskins, and Dobbs. And I think Dobbs is the odd man out. Deontay Johnson was good. He had 19 yards. You get a guy here, Presley Harvin III. He had a 48-yard punt return that was down at right here at the Dallas Cowboys line, 1-yard line in the first half. Another thing I took away that was not so great, I noticed the passing defense. I know without Steven Nelson, Mike Hilton, and Joe Hayden didn't play. Rush and Cooper. No, I'm sorry. Gilbert and Rush, completed 17 to 26 attempts for 174 yards. Their secondary held, but it didn't. It stayed in the game. I like the first 2 turnovers. The first one was a fumble recovery that was forced by, his name was Justin Lane, and then there was a pick by Devon Steiner. Another thing I took away from Pittsburgh side, Mason Rudolph. I don't know what it was. I think it was just a miscommunication. He tried to hand the ball to Chase Claypool, and fumbled the ball. But his best play was the 45-yard pass to Claypool. That was pretty good. And this, and again, like, another thing I noticed, the drops. Like, I think that was Sean Spencer, who watched the football, can attest to this. That's what hurt them those last 5 games, was the amount of drops. They got to work on that. And then again, also too, like kickers, like we shouldn't be missing extra points. I think the guy's name I have here, Sam Sloman. He missed a 49-yard, and then but even he made up for it a 48. But that was pretty. Doesn't make any sense. Turner, yes, also had a big day. So these guys right here, Alex Highsmith, that's his name. For sure, man, played really, really great on tonight's game. Played really good. I think some guys are trying to make a case to why they should be on the team. I like Isaiah Buggs and Cassius Marsh. I like him too. So I'm curious to see how Pittsburgh's that defense, they might have something going there. That's what they're going there. But it was great to see the Hall of Fame game. It was great to see, again, some of the Hall of Fame guys there. Like I said, Calvin Johnson. I feel bad for him. Great player for the Detroit Lions. Him, Matthew Stafford, Barry Sanders. Just talents wasted. Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, John Lynch, Alan Faneca. Like I said, Drew Pearson. It was nice to see he got a new tattoo of him getting in the Hall of Fame the day he got in. So that was great. That was great. Happy for him. But yeah, it was kind of not a great. It was okay. I enjoyed it, but this is just the taste. We've been waiting, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a small taste. Football's back. We'll also I just want to point this note out. So I will be sticking with covering the WNBA and football, baseball. I'm gonna cover all that and just continue just doing what I'm doing with this. So, there may be a couple episodes where I'm talking about WNBA, going in the training camp with the NBA, we're going in the postseason with baseball, and basketball is going to be around the corner in September. So sort of come back a full circle, people. But we're going to stick with football. We're going to transition to an article. And I want to give Sean Spencer a shout out. He told me about this in the conversation we had today. Kirk Cousins said some things. This is an article by ESPN's staff writer, Courtney Crowan. Kirk Cousins vowed to follow the NFL COVID-19's protocol to avoid contracting the virus or being deemed a close contact ahead of players returning to practice Thursday after being activated off the reserve COVID-19 list. Cousins and quarterback Nate Stanley were subjected to the league's COVID-19 protocols as of Sunday after rookie Kellen Mond tested positive for the virus. Cousins and Stanley were deemed high-risk close contacts and had to isolate for 5 days before being eligible to return to practice. According to the NFL Players Association protocols, a high-risk close contact designates a player who is also unvaccinated. Cousins said he's had 6 negative tests since he was last with Mons on July 30th and did not exhibit any symptoms of COVID-19. The veteran quarterback said the size of Minnesota's quarterbacks being in the room inside TCO Performance Season was root of the issue. Quote, I've come to learn since we've been at home that the traces we wear actually show that I was not a close contact. As I understand, being in close contact is being within a certain number of feet, Cousins said. The challenge was the meeting room where we met in was deemed too small for us to have been in a room together. even if we were in significantly apart from each other, since we moved to a different meeting room, as I understand it, had we met in a larger room, I would not have missed practice because I was a close contact as it deemed by actually being in contact. So it was disappointing to miss practice. And in my entire college and pro career, I have not missed 4 practices. So to miss 4 practices in 1 week and not have COVID was frustrating and disappointing. Now, I want to play the video of where he talked about where he stands with the vaccination. Actually, what I'll do is I will leave this in the description for y'all to see because we have been honestly and truthfully beating a dead horse with this, and I feel like honestly and then he turned around and said he would rather surround himself with plexiglass than get the COVID-19 vaccine. The Vikings have the lowest vaccination rate in the NFL. The Vikings have been the center of the COVID-19 debate in the NFL. Roughly 70% of the team's roster has received at least one shot of the vaccine. Mike Zimmer, I talked about it. Only 0.00% of fully vaccinated individuals that experienced a breakthrough case of COVID-19 that required a hospitalization. I mean, honestly and truthfully, like, he said that decision is personal and private. Again, like we've been talking about this, for now, I don't know how many times. Like, I'm not going to tell people what to do with their choice, with their bodies. That's their choice. I just encourage people to just, again, do the research, educate yourselves on it. Unfortunately, like I said, you know, you just got to think about those that you are around, and think about this. Again, I've said it where he and 2 other quarterbacks had to sit out. I'm gonna reference that Denver Bronco game. Now, suppose they couldn't play and had to forfeit that game, and that could have been a potential playoff game spot. Then what? So that's his choice. I respect it, and I'm gonna back off. I'm gonna transition into the Baltimore Ravens real quick. So, a couple things I took away from getting updates with the Baltimore Ravens. The return of Tavon Young is great, much needed. I'm just not a fan of the fact of that contract. I feel like we could go a little younger and a little cheaper. I mean, Tavon Young is a great nickel cornerback, but I mean, unfortunately, just injuries just popped up through his year. Just popped out here and there. He had an ACL injury, and then a neck injury, and he tore another ACL last year. ACL again. So I just really appreciate. I really respect his faith in the Bible. I think that's important in my personal opinion. Like I said, he signed a 3-year deal, $25.8 million contract. I'm kind of curious to see what he's going to look like this season. So I feel like we're going to get Tavon Young. We're going to get him back. But other than that, like I said, it's Adrian Early, offensive lineman I was telling you about in the last episode. He could potentially be a guy on the team. I like that. The biggest things I'm still looking at is the pass rush. I feel like with Matthew Judon and Ngakwe not there, that gives more snaps for Bowser, Queen, Harrison, Justin Houston, and the defense have been praising Odafe Onwa out of Penn State. So I'm really curious to see what that looks like. Des Bryant, excuse me. He had said some things about Greg Roman on Twitter. This was basically talking about what Greg Roman needs to do to make Lamar better. He's saying, well, this is Torrey Smith. Torrey Smith said, by the way, the Ravens wide receivers look good. Facts. But G-Ro have to dial up plays for Lamar. Ravens could easily be the most dominant team in the league. You shouldn't be able to cover any wideouts because of Lamar in the run game. ... Okay, and then a Cleveland Brown fan had to be a Brown fan. Have you seen the upgraded Browns defense? # bring it. Yeah, but having someone like Lamar quarterback trumps everything. I would create 10 go-to plays, 5 running, 5 passing. Players like Lamar dictate the defense, and he shouldn't be able to dictate to do his ability and the players around him. Interesting. I agree. Like, and I think again, like I look at it like this. It's hard to balance passing and running the ball. It's hard, ladies and gentlemen. You can't do both. One's going to have to give. But I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make Lamar more of a passer than anything, in my opinion. So, Des Bryant, that was actually pretty good. Shout out to Des Bryant. Even I wish he was still here with the Ravens, but I understand. We're going to transition into the NFL. Just some quick NFL updates. Peyton Manning said that Tom Brady's going to be attending the Hall of Fame and will be sitting in his section at the Hall of Fame induction. I think that's well respected. Deshaun Watson trades talk halted. The Texans are not returning teams' calls about Deshaun Watson with hopes that he will want to stay in Houston. This is Fox Sports. So I think that's a little suspect. See, the relationship's already severed. Okay, let's just call it what it is. Okay, I think everything they did, the way they handled it, I think was disrespectful. I do. Then it's coming. Since time in Houston, never heard about any of this stuff. Then it comes out in the blue that he has these cases against him, and I just find it weird that it happens when the man wants out because the team's not winning, and he's not returning Cal McNair or none of their phone calls or text messages. I just find that weird. But it's just something about there's something about them that just doesn't the hairs in the back of my neck stand up. So I just feel like I don't know what you're trying to do. You're in Houston, Texas. Now I feel like you're holding not only Deshaun Watson hostage, but you're holding the franchise hostage. So it was also announced during the halftime show after the Hall of Fame game that Jimmy Johnson will be inducted into the Cowboys Ring of Honor. Well deserved. This is my personal opinion. Jimmy Johnson is one of the best coaches in the NFL. I didn't get to see him coach. I think the last year he coached was he coached the Dolphins from 96, 99, but I was 5, so I caught him at the end of his career. I feel like that was I just feel like I think the way I just think kind of I think it was more like to patch things up. I feel like when he left, I think it left a bad taste in his mouth and Jerry's mouth, and it was nice to see them kind of bury the hatchet. So that was good to know. The Green Bay Packers have given Aaron Rodgers the request to trade after this year. So we'll see how that looks for sure. Elijah Moore has the names of receivers picked ahead of him written on his mirror. The Jets rookie, who was drafted number 34th in the second round, behind 5 other wide receivers, says their names out loud twice a day. Now, you got to forgive me because my memory is not the greatest sometimes. So we got Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Kadarius Toney, Rashard Bateman, Elijah Moore. Now, I will say this. If Rashard Bateman was not there when he was available, Elijah Moore was my next wide receiver off my mock draft. I have nothing against Elijah Moore. Out of Ole Miss, I think system. I don't think he personally. I don't think he would fit Baltimore's system. I just don't think he would. Now, I will say this: I thought Terrence Marshall would have been great, but unfortunately, injuries. Injuries. Which kind of sucks, but I understood it because you know when you draft a guy, you're drafting a guy to be part of the building a franchise now, and you don't want to draft someone that's in your point. That's what kind of hurt his stock going into the draft. So, with that being said, we're going to transition away from from football, into basketball. We're a little around we're going to recap some NFL news real quick. So, the Washington Wizards, they signed their guy, Spencer Dinwiddie. It was part of a five team trade, which was like, wow. So now that from John Wall, Russell Westbrook, we got now Spencer Dinwiddie, Aaron Holiday, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, Cartavius Caldwell-Pope, Tommy Shepard, without really making a dent in the Wizards. What's what I'm looking for? In their future, he did actually pretty well. But I think to really come up with a 5-team trade, that's actually pretty damn good. Now, Chandler Hutchinson, We got some draft collateral back. We got a second round pick swap for starting point guard, backup point guard, starting small forward, high minute, high high minute guard forward, and then probably a potential forward at either forward spot. So now this is just me personally, but this is where I'm looking at the rotation. I have it here on my notes. So we have Dinwiddie, Neto, Holiday, Beal, KCP. You can put KCP at the 3. You can even put Beal at the 3. Kuzma, Casper, Avadeji, Dejia, Hashimura, Bertans, Kuzma, Galford, Harrell, and then Thomas Bryant whenever he comes back from his injury. Now, me personally, I would like to see them trade Bertans because I just think his performance, particularly in this postseason, was horrendous. I think when you get $80 million and you had a 0, that's disgusting to me. That really is. I feel like we can get something for that. I do. But another thing I was reading, Ben Simmons, Lord have mercy. So apparently from this article I was reading, and I'm not going to see why I'm kind of just throwing my hands up with Ben Simmons. He has reportedly cut off all communications with the Philadelphia 76ers. This is according to the article hypebeast.com. So, according to Jason Dumas of K-Ron 4 News, Simmons has stopped speaking to basically everyone in the Sixers organization. The only line of communication open with Simmons is reported through his agent, Rich Paul. Dumas commented on the tarnished relationship between the Sixers and Simmons, saying that it's basically now at the point beyond repair and it's getting worse day by day. As trade discussions are continuing to be on a high, Simmons' main concern is supposedly end up in a bad situation. The athlete is willing to move to one of the California teams. He is, however, unwilling to be traded to the Toronto Raptors or Portland Trail Blazers. Dumas also reports that Simmons' relationship with his teammate Joel Embiid is currently on the rocks. Joel Embiid has reached out to him several times since then and has not returned any of Joel Embiid's calls. After the disgraceful performance against the Atlanta Hawks, I'm paraphrasing that, because they were discussing when you blow an 18-point lead and a 26-point lead at home, you lost 3 home games. Simmons' relationship with the team appears to, however, continue to sour. Following the loss, Simmons told reporters, "We lost. It sucks. I am who I am. It is what it is. It's not easy to win. First thing I'm going to do is clear my mind and get my mental right." May the Lord bless you. How can you like at this point it's it's really just nothing you can do. This relationship's beyond repair. I've said it. I did a whole 30-40 minute rant on the Sixers. Like Ben Simmons, we're going into now years. And every year, and for people to keep showing me that video, well, look, he's jump shot. That was a couple years ago. If he's doing that against whoever, amateur basketball players, why is that not transitioning on the NBA court? We shouldn't be talking about it. We shouldn't be at this point in a guy's career, as great as he is, saying, where's the jump shot? We shouldn't be doing this. And for him to cut off communications with the team, I'd cut off communications with his ass first and traded him. Because at this point, what's the point? Ben Simmons is just a good player. And I didn't say this. This is what Jason Dumas. He wants to go to any California team. Clippers, Lakers, Warriors. Because he bought a house, if I'm not mistaken that correctly. If I'm saying that right, he bought a house in California. So that pretty much lets me know where he's at. But see, I want to call out and give a shout out to Elliot Tinsley at the same time. You give this, you coddle this, but you're on Giannis. You're on Giannis's ass. Like that makes no sense to me. Like we keep giving Ben Simmons passes and just just start calling out this excuse my language, this bullshit for what it is. Listen, Ben Simmons, number 1 overall pick. We could talk about he was a great player at LSU. That's college. When you transition from college to the NBA, your game starts at 0. Last time I checked, the way he performed in Philadelphia, he didn't take a shot. And the question is he can he be a championship point guard for your team? No. Can he be a great player for your championship team? And me personally, I'm not playing with a guy like this. I would not want him as a teammate. I'm sorry to say that, but that's just my opinion. I would if I'm Damian Lillard or if I'm John Wall. No, I'm not playing alongside a guy like this. I'm not. If it's going to happen, we're going to sit down with a sports psychiatrist. We're going to figure out what the problem is. Did you just not want to be in Philadelphia? Did you feel like you should have been the man of the team? Like what? The first thing I'm going to do is clear my mind and get my mental right. 7 games. 7 games. You didn't take a shot. Oh, by the way, you passed up a dunk. I don't want to hear that. Let me get off that topic before I say some stuff that I regret saying. Let's transition to the Team USA basketball. So right now the women are lead. Wow, it's halftime. The score is 41-23. Like I said, I will recap that game in episode 7, which will be up this weekend, Saturday at the latest, even tomorrow. Be on the lookout for that. But Team USA men's, they rallied past Australia. Big win. And now, this is it. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This means this win marks a berth Saturday to get gold 4 in a row. Like, let me just say this. Nicholas Batum got France into this game with a clutch block on Luka Doncic, who went off had a triple dub. The key is going to be the offense. Like, we just spirit-wise, we took it out of them. Drew Holiday and Kevin Durant showed why I need to owe them an apology. I mean, they played some great basketball. When they were down 15 points, Greg Popovich, I'm telling you, great coaches sitting there like this, and they're motivating guys. Come on, guys, play through adversity. Who's, by the way, if they win this game, this game against France, that's another guy you want an apology to, because the way y'all have been on Greg Popovich has been disgusting. He's not the same Greg Popovich. Without Tim Duncan, he's nothing, and he should not have been the coach for this team. Y'all owe that man an apology. Now, we did lose to France back on the 25th. The final score was 83-76.
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
Those guys are they're we gotta come out ready. Now, I will say this about Australia. They were ready for us. Patty Mills, Joe Angles, and those boys, they were ready. You know, like Kevin Durant had 23 points. Like the biggest thing, like especially like they missed their first 10 threes, which is really that was kind of hard to watch. But then they closed the first half. It was 8-0. It was 8-0 run. And then it was cut to 3. And then Holiday and Durant, it was a Kevin Durant and Drew Holiday show, ladies and gentlemen. Holiday had 11 points. And then Durant made 3 threes and made a 12-0 run, and they made a 20-0 run by the end of the second quarter. Now, the defense stepped up, Bam, and Draymond Green, and they started – the shooting was they were 13 and 26. But for the Australians, and then there was just an abysmal 3 of 16. Like, I'm looking at the box score. Devin Booker had a couple clutch threes. He had 2. I think he had 10. He had 20 points in the whole game. And then, I mean, Patty Mills only, these last 2 games only had 15, but man. Woo! I can't wait to watch that France game. That's going to be a good game. Now, the women. No secret. No secret at all. They played Australia. Without Liz Cambage, this team was motivated, this USA women's team. Now, if you remember, the first time we saw them, they kicked our ass. Now, we took no prisoners. The score was 79-55. But at halftime, it was a blowout, y'all. Like I can't even say There's not much to say. Like then the first quarter, it was a 17-0 run, and then the first quarter it was like 20. It was 21-6. Then it stretched. It was 48-27 at halftime, and then woo. I'm like Breonna Stewart, Brittany Griner, Asia Wilson combined for 48 points and 17 rebounds, which is amazing. And then Breonna Stewart. She had 20 points going in the half by herself. And then, I mean, the only thing I took away is Chelsea Gray, Sue Bird, Diane Taurasi didn't play. But they did combine for – no, they didn't play in this. They didn't play in the Las Vegas game against Australia. But they did combine for 17 assists. Leilani Mitchell hit 4 threes. Someone had my notes here. Kayla George had 11. But when they were outscored, the shooting-wise, 45% compared to their 30. And then they were out-rebounded 44-38, and then they committed 10 turnovers, and then I had 10 in the first quarter just alone. We won the pool games by 9 points. So that's great. I'm happy. Congratulations. Well deserved. Looks like we're going to get Serbia, and then I think that's it. No, and then we have Japan and then France. So whoever wins. So it looks like how I'm understanding this. Whoever wins the France and Japan game, we face them in the finals. So well deserved. Well deserved, ladies and gentlemen. Well deserved, ladies and gentlemen. I have been really enjoying watching the basketball for Team USA. I really have. But it hasn't been easy trying to cover their games because they come on like late, and sometimes I don't go to sleep till like 3, 4 in the morning. So it's hard for me to like really kind of like stay like, okay, like that was a great possession by Suber and Diana Taurasi. Oh, that was great. This defense. It's hard to really watch some of these games because of just the time difference. It's really hard. So you have to forgive me. There was also, excuse me, I wanted to talk about the Baltimore Orioles real quick. So we played the Rays were home today. Couple things. We got former prospect Jorge Mateo from the Padres off waivers. So, I mean, we designated Pat Valenka for an assignment. Matt Harvey has been he's different. He's been different. Pitching better. He's definitely stepped up his game compared to the first half of the season. But again, like I said, I just think just having that break, I think just to get yourselves just mentally, physically rested is key. Now, unfortunately, horrendous defense and disgusting bullpen work just once again just reared its ugly head. Final score we lost was 10-3. Like I really don't want to talk about the game. I mean, we got we were up 3-0, and then they just scored 10 unanswered runs. I mean, just disgusting. So disgusting. But I do want to show you this clutch block. Nicholas Batum on Luka Doncic. Let me just say this. You want the ball in Luka's hands. 14 seconds, down 1. This was just a great play. Look, stand with him, switch, picks him up. That's just a clutch. That is a clutch block. That is clutch. You just got to shake a man's head, a man's hand on a play like that. You just have to. You really do. But I'll also say this: the way they set that screen, that was. But he couldn't. I don't think he could have ISO'd on Gobert, on Rudy Gobert. But also too, Luka's got to learn. He's got to draw the foul on that play. He got to draw the foul on that play. But it was a great.
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
Okay, so I'm gonna close out the episode 6. I want to give a shout out to my boy Russell Goodacre. We were texting conversation. He sent me this article. He said, read it and give me your feet and give me your thoughts on this. Oh my gosh. The first time Washington Capitals owner Ted Leonsis spent meaningful time with Alex Ovechkin after the 2004-2005 NHL lockout. Ovechkin, who'd been drafted number 1 overall pick by the Caps in 2004, arrived at Leonsis' house to spend a day with the family. Leonsis' wife Lynn made lunch. Leonsis was impressed that the Russian superstar, then just 20, helped pick up the dishes afterwards and brought them to the kitchen. Afterwards, they played basketball with Leonsis' kids and a few friends. Quote, he was an unbelievable basketball player, Leonsis said. Ovechkin's mom, Tatiana, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist in basketball. She was a good little basketball player. I actually looked her up. Good little basketball player. Then they went swimming. He was like a torpedo in the pool, Leonsis recalled. I'm not kidding. That's what it felt like. Then the 2 men sat at the pool and talked. Alex was making eye contact with me and was really listening, Leonsis said. I explained how hard this was going to be for him. The reason we were able to draft to number 1 is that we were really a bad team. And it was going to take us a really long time to be a good team. Our goal was to win the Stanley Cup, but also for him to live a full self-actualized life and grow up with us. Ovechkin remained a captive audience. Leonsis then got philosophical. Quote, my belief that communities fall in love with a young player, Leonsis told Ovechkin. And then they often get their heart broken when the young players want to leave. Leonsis ended his spiel with a pitch. Alex, trust me. Let us trust you. Let's do this together. Ovechkin said, okay. He was in. Last week, the Capitals announced a new contract for Ovechkin, a 5-year deal with an average annual of $9.5 million that will take him to the age of 40. Should he average 33 goals per season in that time, he will break Wayne Gretzky's all-time NHL goal-scoring record with 894 goals. Ovechkin negotiated the deal himself, emblematic of the trust he and the organization have forged for nearly over 2 decades. Quote, the idea of him playing in Russia or playing for another organization just didn't make sense, GM Brian McLaren said. It is important that we brought back the tone into the negotiations that we are actually going to try to make it work. We wanted him to finish his career here, be happy about the contract, be happy about the term, and go out the right way. Here's how it all came together. Ovechkin has been a superstar ever since he stepped on the NHL ice. He scored 52 goals as a rookie. 2 years later, he was league MVP. He was MVP the next season too. Leonsis was right. It would take a long time to reach their goals. Despite making the playoffs in 10 of his first 13 seasons, it took until 2018 for Ovechkin to help the Capitals to their organization's first Stanley Cup. Ovechkin's impact off the ice was felt well before that. Quote, when I brought the team in 1999 from Poland, I paid $85 million. We struggled to put fans in the stands, Leonsis said. We had 2,000 season ticket holders and a 20,000 arena. The year before, I brought the team that had gone into the finals and couldn't sell out playoff games. The following year, they didn't make the playoffs and renewals were terrible. After Ovechkin's first MVP season in 2017-2008 under coach Bruce Boudreau, the Capitals sold out all the playoff games. Quote, the next season we sold out every game and we've sold out every game since then, Leonsis said. Now we are a top top 10 revenue team and a top 6 or 8 ticket selling team. We become a destination. Now I say the Caps are worth billions of dollars. The Caps realized the power of Ovechkin by the time of his 3-year entry-level deal was expiring in 2018. Quote, when it was time for his second deal, that was the standard deal template, Leonsis said. Sidney Crosby signed a 5-year second year deal. We had done something like that too. Team president Dick Patrick had other ideas. In a meeting with Leonsis, Patrick said, quote, I'm very conservative and very skeptical. And when you give these players long-term deals for a lot of money, sometimes they change. Sometimes their love of the game changes. I think there's something special here. So why do we do something radical? Why don't we tell Alex we want to negotiate your bridge contract, your B contract, and your free agent deal all at the same time, which happened to be a 13-year, $124 million contract. That was NHL's first $100 million contract deal. And then I think what was not like a couple years later, I can't remember his name, he tried to sign like a 15, 14-year deal, and that just didn't work. Like, I don't want to continue. I don't want to continue to read on to this, but like this article, this is what really pissed me off. That we're getting here's the kicker. On Thursday, the Capitals held a news conference announcing the deal, and shortly after that, Leonsis was pulled into talks regarding the NBA's Washington Wizards, a team that he also owns. Quote, we had a superstar player with the Wizards. He had an opportunity and wanted to be traded to the Lakers, he said. Leonsis said. And I was dealing with that. As we were announcing Alex, I couldn't help but self-reflect on what a difference it is. He's a great player in Russell Westbrook who played in OKC, wanted to be traded. Went to Houston, wanted to be traded. Came to DC, wanted to be traded, now it's in LA. He's an unbelievable great person and an unbelievable great player. But that's the difference between the NBA and the NHL, I suppose. How ignorant and how stupid that comment was by Ted Leonsis, and it really lets me know how he truly feels about the Washington Wizards, the Washington Mystics, and he will always put the Washington Capitals first before those teams. Now, I understand Alex Ovechkin, he built DC. Not disputing that. But when he came into this league, when he came as an owner, the Washington Wizards had Gilbert Arenas. Did he make a comment about Gilbert Arenas? Listen, I need you to trust me on this. I need you to be all in for this. Did he do that with Clamonique Holzclaw when she was with the Mystics? No. John Wall? No. Bradley Beal? No. When Elena Deladon when she was traded from the Chicago Sky, did he make those kind of comments? No. Even when they won when the Mystics won their first championship in franchise history, did he come to any of those players? Tiana Hawkins, Natasha Cloud, Emma Mieseman. I need you to trust us to build a championship team. It's going to come. Any of those comments come out of his mouth about that, about like Alex Ovechkin? No. But it just really also lets me know, like, he's just not a great owner. He puts more care into the Capitals before he'll put effort into the Mystics and Wizards. It's fact. Like, well, I was conversating again, but I get it. The Washington Wizards haven't been relevant since the 70s. Even when we had Chris Webber and Juwan Howard and Rod Strickland and Rex Chapman, like George Mirasan, Muggsy Bogues, like that's great. But the Washington Wizards, before Ted Leonsis got there, what were they? The Washington Mystics, I think up until 2019, they made the NBA Finals once. Let me make sure that fact right real quick. Yeah, we had lost to them. We had lost to them in the conference finals to New York Liberty, and Marion Sterling was our head coach at that time. And after that, up until when Coach T came to Washington, that was 2013. We had Trady Lucy, who I don't really think was a good coach. I mean, I think she just was not a good coach for the Mystics, in my personal opinion. She just was not. Consistently, other than 2016 where he didn't make the playoffs, Mike Thibault, he's improved. He improved the Mystics. They got better. But did Ted Leonsis ever come out and say, you know what? Bria Hartley, Steffi Dolson, Taylor Hill. Because this was the 2016 roster. Where's it at? Bria, Steffi, trust me. Let us trust you. Let's do this together. Did any of that come out of his mouth? Hell no. But before anyone comes at me and goes, well, before he became owner, Abe Poland was like that too. They were worse. But Ted Leonsis hasn't made it better. When you to me, these owners talk about loyalty. Russell Westbrook was not loyal to Ted Leonsis. He was loyal to Scott Brooks. That is a fact. What do we like? Are you serious? Yo, let me play this clip real quick. First, because it just proves my point that we're gonna close the show out this article really pissed me the hell off because it sat there and it really lets me know really how he feels. How he feels about the Wizards and the Mystics, and he would do more. This is not a slight on Alex Ovechkin. He would put out more than he didn't do. He didn't do it with John Wall, Bradley Beal, Crystal Langhorne, Bria Hartley, Steffi Dolson, Taylor Hill. First round picks that made an impact. When we had to unfortunately rebuild after the Gilbert Arenas fiasco, come on now. To me, these comments, this is bad press because you know what an owner's job really is to do? Cut the check, stay the hell out of the media's attention, and just keep it quiet. That's what an owner should do. Why would he come out with these kind of comments? It really just lets me know how he truly feels about the Wizards and the Mystics as an owner. These owners, they piss. They really. Some of these owners really bother me. Like it's an obligation. I have to be loyal to you. No, I don't. I don't have to be loyal. Like, let me just find the video real quick because my head's starting to hurt. Just really even talking about this.
Players in the NBA, but his trade to the Lakers now lands him on his fourth team in 4 years, leading some people to wonder why he moves around so much. Now, Wizards and Capitals owner Ted Leonsis had this to say about the departure of Russell Westbrook. Quote, "We had a superstar player with the Wizards. He had an opportunity and wanted to be traded to the Lakers. And I was dealing with that as we were announcing Alex. I couldn't help but self-reflect on what a difference it is. Here's a great player in Russell Westbrook. He played at OKC, wanted to be traded, went to Houston, wanted to be traded, came to DC, wanted to be traded, and is now in LA. He's an unbelievably great person and an unbelievably great player, but that's the difference between the NBA and the NHL, I suppose." And I just want to clarify, when I said they were announcing Alex, they were talking about Alex Ovechkin, also a superstar in his own league. So, okay, Max, no, let's start with Sam here. Are Leonsis' comments on Westbrook fair or are they foul?
They're foul. They're all the way foul. It's out of bounds. Those are uncalled for. Let's not forget, if you want to talk about loyalty, like Max, you love basketball. Let's talk about loyalty. Russell Westbrook is loyal. He stayed in OKC for 11 years. The only reason he left is because everybody else was gone, right?
And then also, too, with all due respect, what happened with the situation with OKC, we did not hold Sam Presti accountable like we should have.
Okay, then let's talk about loyalty again in Washington. Let's skip over let's skip over Houston, right? Go to Washington. Go to Washington. The reason he wanted to leave is because Scott Brooks left. Like, he wanted to go follow his coach. He wanted to go win games. And all of a sudden, he leaves because they don't keep Scott Brooks. And so if anyone in basketball is loyal, Russell Westbrook is loyal. I think that the owner of the Wizards is just salty because they haven't won in a couple years. They haven't been in the playoffs before he got there, before this man on the screen got there, hadn't been in the playoffs in 3 years. Obviously, Alexander Ovechkin, superstar hockey player. But also, let's not forget, they won the Stanley Cup in 2018. Washington has not been winning. So he's salty because Russell Westbrook's trying to go win a championship. But Russell Westbrook is loyal. He's one of the most loyal players in basketball.
Okay, Sam Ocho, who's the brother of Emmanuel Ocho, pretty much summed it. I don't want to hear Max Kellerman talk because Max Kellerman sometimes just it's just like the point, like basically the point I'm just trying to show you on that is that his comments are flat out ignorant. Like the whole article, what he said, that quote about Russ was ignorant. Like I don't know how much. Like, let me just say this: like the Washington Capitals, since winning the Stanley Cup in 2018. Why is it not working? Hold on. Bruh, hold on. That's just loading slow. I want to point this out. Let me point this out to you. So 2020, 2019, right? They lost in the first round to the New York Islanders. May I remind you who was the head coach of the New York Islanders that year? Barry Trotz, a guy that was instrumental in them winning the Stanley Cup. Then We lost to the Carolina Hurricanes 2018, 2019. And then we lost in the first round to the Boston Bruins. So you let me know, if you're so loyal, you talk about loyalty, and you expect a player to be loyal to you, shouldn't you be loyal to your team? Because a first round exit, not once, not twice, but you lost in 7 games to the Carolina Hurricanes in the first round. You've been back to the first round 3 straight years. If you're the Capitals, and you talked about loyalty, but since you've been owner as a team, the Wizards haven't been relevant, unfortunately, because of one, Scott Brooks just injuries, inconsistencies, and unfortunately John Wall got his contract, didn't play for 2 years straight. Bradley Beal couldn't stay healthy. Okay, drafting not Otto Porter. Just so many blunders. Like, tell Leonsis as an owner would say, you know what? Let me try to make this team relevant. Because I don't know about you, but like I said, these comments were flat out ignorant. Like, we lost in the second round of the Pacers back in 2014, the Hawks 2015, the Celtics 2016, lost to the Raptors in the first round, and then just got embarrassed by the Sixers. Ted Leonsis has not made his effort to try to make the team better. But we're talking about loyalty, right? If you want players to be loyal to you as an owner, be loyal to your team and do what's best to get your team to win championships. That's how that works. It don't work the way you want it to work. And with that being said, I'm out. Peace. You can kiss my ass.
First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and tell me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Let me just apologize. Didn't mean that in any disrespectful way. Just frustrating as a Wizards fan, Mystic fan, and a Caps fan to read those kind of comments. And that's the type of and that's how he truly feels about 2/3 of his of what he owns. That I don't like that. That's not cool. The Mystics won a championship 2 years ago. Last year they didn't have 2 of their best players because they were in the bubble. Now this year, injuries and again trying to get everybody's eggs in the basket. Because I still believe the Mystics come second half of this season, they're going to be the best team in the league, and they will win the championship, guaranteed. The Washington Wizards have something special building right now. Give Tommy Shepard the credit that he deserves. But for you to once again talk about, well, Alex has been with us for 2 decades and he's shown me loyalty. Russell Westbrook was here for 1 season and didn't show me that. The Wizards were not even that great of a team in the first half. COVID, inconsistencies. On top of that, you had a head coach for 5 years. Couldn't get your team over the hump. You're talking about loyalty. I'm out. Peace.
First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and tell me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.